Okay, so today I am going to be trying out a new foundation by NARS, and it's their new all-day luminous weightless foundation. As you know, NARS is well known for their NARS Sheer Glow foundation. I own the NARS Sheer Matte foundation. I don't own the NARS Sheer Glow, so I can't really compare the two, but I can compare this with the NARS Sheer Matte foundation. This is an this is an oil-free formula. I got this in the shade Fiji because in the NARS Sheer Matte I am colour matched with the shade Fiji, so hopefully the colour shade selection stays pretty much the same. So the claims for this foundation is that one drop will last 16 hours and it will have full coverage. As you can tell, I have a few scars on my face right now, so I thought it'd be great to test out the coverage for this foundation. Okay, so a great thing this foundation has is a pump. Like the other NARS foundations did not include a pump at all, and you'd have to buy this separately, and this one comes with it, so that is great. I am not going to be applying any primers or any fixing sprays or anything. I'm just going to be applying this as I do. I already applied moisturizer prior to the video. I have oily combination skin if I have not mentioned that, so what I'm going to do is just apply this how I apply any other foundation I have. So the claims for this foundation was that one pump was basically one drop and that would last 16 hours and it would provide full coverage. It is pretty watery, I have to say. The foam is pretty thin, but let's see how it works. So I'd usually just dot this around my face, and then using a brush I would just stipple it in and then blend it. As you can tell, I have quite a bit of redness on my face and dark under eye circles as well as a few scars, so we'll see how it works with coverage. So I am using a flat top by Sonia Kashuk, and this is their number 4 brush. As you can tell, you have to work pretty fast with this foundation. I kind of let it set in as I was talking, so it was kind of hard to blend in. However, I did try this foundation after this video and it was completely fine on just blending in once you work right away. Okay, so I just applied the foundation. It has like a demi-matte finish. It's not completely matte, but it's kind of like on the demi-matte side. It feels really, really light. It feels like I'm not wearing any foundation whatsoever. It just feels so natural right now. As for looks, it looks fine. I'd say the color is slightly a bit light for me. I have like a scar right here which has like a dry patch around it, and you can see the dry patch pretty clearly. I'll probably do like a close-up, but other than that, I really like the finish. It feels really natural. It feels really extremely light. As for coverage wise, you can see my scars really slightly. It covered my redness completely, but as for scarring, I'm not really too bothered on the scarring. But other than that, looks really, really nice. I just wonder what it's going to be like throughout the day since my face gets pretty oily. So I want to see how well this foundation works out with other products. I'm using the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer as well, and I'm seeing how that will blend in. So right now I'm really loving this foundation. Like, it feels so light. Like, it doesn't feel like I'm wearing any face makeup at all. That's how light and natural it feels right now. I'm going to be applying the rest of my face makeup and seeing how that stays on throughout the rest of the day. So now I'm applying the rest of my face makeup. I'm using a liquid bronzer and I'm setting my face with a pressed powder, and I'm adding a highlighter. These are the face products which I use every single day on a daily basis, so I can test these out on how they work differently on this foundation. Okay, Okay, so this is so annoying, but I don't have the audio for this section of the video, so I'm just going to have to do a voiceover. So I've been wearing this foundation for a total of 3 hours, and this foundation has just set really nicely. It has a really nice and natural finish, and it's basically stayed the same throughout the whole 3 hours. However, on my nose, it's slightly a bit oily. I don't think the camera's really picking it up, but it is pretty oily. As for everything else has pretty much stayed on put. My bronzer is still there, my highlighter is still there, everything is really nicely there. So I don't think this foundation can control the oil produced on my nose. I'm just going to get a blotting sheet and show you guys how much oil is on my nose, and you can see how pretty oily it actually is. Okay, so it's around 5 PM right now, and I've been wearing this foundation for a total of about just over 7 hours, and oh my gosh, can you see how oily my nose is right now? It is extremely oily. Like, I'm looking at the screen, it does not look anywhere near as oily as it actually is. If I compare it with what I'm looking at in the mirror, it does not look as oily, because in the mirror it looks extremely oily. Like, oh my god. As for everywhere else though, it still feels pretty matte. My highlighter, you can tell my highlighter, it's got a bit of oiliness there as well, mixed with the highlighter. I don't really know, but it still stayed put. Like, my highlighter is still like a lot there, and then same with my bronzer is still pretty much there. However, for me, I am a pretty oily person, so that may work different for you guys. I'm not really entirely sure. But in comparison with the NARS Sheer Matte Foundation, this has a higher coverage. This foundation is a lot more runnier in the consistency. I prefer this foundation. It's unscented. I didn't smell any scent at all. This foundation, I don't know what scent it is, but it smells pretty chemically, and I don't really like it as much. I would prefer this foundation overall. However, both of these foundations are in the same shade. I got them both in Fiji. I don't know if it's picking up on camera, but they're slightly different shades. This one's a slightly lighter shade, and this one's got a slightly, it's kind of a slight pink undertone. It's like a yellow but a slight pink to it. This one's just a full-on yellow undertone. I prefer this kind of undertone because I am yellow. So this foundation is extremely weightless. Like, I cannot feel anything on my face. I cannot even feel the oil on my nose. It is so light, and even till now, throughout all this oil, it is still pretty light. I just want to show you guys how oily my nose is. I'll get a blotting sheet out and I'll just demonstrate all the oil from just one blot. I guarantee you this will just stick on my nose from how oily this is. Like just from one blot. Oh, this is the oil. So yeah, pretty oily. As for everywhere else, yep, still pretty oily. Since this is going to be my last checkup throughout the day, I won't be going through the whole 16 hours just because I am going to film a couple of videos and I want to be able to touch up on my makeup before then, so I don't think it would have been a fair kind of test result or whatever. So overall, I really do like this foundation. I feel like this foundation is going to be amazing for the summertime since it's really, really lightweight but has a really high coverage. It doesn't feel like you're wearing any foundation whatsoever. I feel like if you do have oily skin, however, you would probably have to wear a primer, set your face with powder, and probably touch up throughout the day with powder or maybe blotch your face. And for me, that's what I would regularly do anyways, so I wouldn't have a problem. It was just for testing this foundation. My face just got really, really oily. I really like this foundation. I do recommend it to you guys. As for flash photography wise, I took a photo with my DSLR about an hour after applying it with all my makeup on. It doesn't have a white cast. I wasn't surprised because it doesn't have any SPF. Well, not that I'm aware of. Even if it does, then I didn't even notice any white cast, so that was great. I don't think it's worth the high price. NARS foundations, they're really expensive, but yeah, it's a really nice high-end foundation. And yes, I hope you enjoyed this video, even though it kind of failed in the end. But yeah, see you guys in my next video. Bye bye.